So we're going to look at Google Presentations right now. To create a presentation, over here on the left, create presentation. And this is the Google's version of Microsoft PowerPoint. What you should get is a selection box for 20 different templates or themes, they call them in here. I think I'll stick with Swiss, nice and clean and red and Swissy. And just like PowerPoint, click adding your titles and click on the box. You can change text just like you can in anything else. You could center it, you could make it a different font, you can make it smaller. Okay. So this is just like their Google Docs and similar to Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and all the rest of it. So this is my first slide. It immediately gave me the theme. To add another slide, there's multiple ways. I like over here on the left the great big plus, and you just select whichever one you want. So one thing that I really think teachers should be stressing with students when they're doing presentations is that it's a presentation. They're not reciting a whole bunch of text off of a slide. To that end, a good way to help ensure your students understand that is by giving them some guidelines. And one of the guidelines that a lot of people follow is that less than 6 words on a slide. And what that means is that you may just have those 6 words, but most likely what you'll need to do is put some image or imagery up on the slide in order to have people follow along with what you're saying and whatnot. This just focuses people on the actual presenter and not on reading the slide. We've all seen that, and we all understand that that's not a good way to present. So stress with your students that the presentation is about them presenting their concept or idea, so they should be the focus, so they don't want to have a slide full of text that everybody could read. Otherwise, you could just have them write slides full of text, pop it up there, and let people read it. So looking at this slide number 2, we're working on apples. So healthy benefits. Probably one thing that they're going to talk about is the healthy benefits of apples. And as I just said, we can insert some images. So there's multiple ways of putting images into a Google presentation. I'm going to show you 2 easy ones. The first one is insert image. And if they've already downloaded images or they have pictures already, they can find the picture on their computer and drag it into here and it'll automatically load it in there. But another thing that can be done fairly quickly from within presentations is to do a Google search. And up comes this. One thing about this Google search is that these are pictures that people have put on the net and they've said that they can be reused by other people. And they've put that into the actual picture. So Google only searches for these certain types of pictures. So the selection is not as high as if you just actually go into a web browser and search Google. So we're going to go into that in about 25 seconds. What I'm going to do though is I like this picture here, this floating apples. It looks a little bit similar to a stoplight or whatever. I'm going to select that one and insert it in here. And it's simply you click on it, it will get put in here. It's a little big. Most of you will know, just simply grab a corner and drag it, and it will resize the picture. Now, this picture's in the wrong spot. There's a few ways to move it. I personally would ensure this arrow is selected, which by default it is, and click and start dragging the picture. You'll notice as you move it around that a blue line may appear. This is showing us that this is now officially centered. Centered in this page. And from there you can just move it up and down and decide, oh, where do I want it exactly? Okay. So now the picture is in there. I'm going to add another slide and we're going to look at another way to add pictures, which is the way that I usually use. So I'm going to put in another slide. This one I'll have title and body. And what you'll see is it has stuff in here. So maybe it has, maybe our title on this one will be beauty regimes, and maybe within here it's they want to have a subtitle. glowing skin, healthy body. So they're going to try and show something about how apples will give you glowing skin and a healthy body and all the rest. So instead of doing the search for an image via this box here, what I will do is I'm going to actually search Google Images for this. So I open up my new tab and I'm in Google Image Search and I search for healthy skin, and lo and behold, lots of healthy skin. Looks like no men have healthy skin in the world, but all these women do. I'm going to click on this picture here because it had an apple. Isn't that convenient? So what I will do is I will click on full-size image. I like to see the full-size image, and now this is the method of putting pictures in that I often use. I'm going to click and drag. You can see I'm holding my mouse button and I'm dragging this. If I move it up to this tab here, it'll get a plus symbol, and move it down to this presentation slide and you still see the plus symbol. If I let go of it, it will be inserted into the presentation. So as I drag this around, you'll notice the blue lines appear again, and this time you get 2 blue lines. The reason you get the 2 blue lines is because we also had in here a text box, and so what this is showing is showing the center between the red line at the top and the gray line at the bottom. So now I've got in there my image of the healthy skin with the apple, and on the other slide it had apples with healthy skin. One thing we have forgotten to do is the following. We really haven't given credit for these images. So one thing I strongly encourage people to do is to have students get the URL for where the picture's at and actually either put it on the page where they show the picture or have a last page, a page where they can list, okay, lady with apple, and then they put the URL. Just so that they get used to the fact that they are using somebody else's work and that it's technically not owned by them, and so they should say, okay, this is where I got it from. That's citation source. So what I'll do is I'll click Insert Text Box, and I'll drag it down here at the bottom, and I will paste Command V. I'll paste in that URL. And now this is dark black text and it's very large, so I don't want it to look like that. I'm going to highlight it all, and up here I can change the text color. I'm going to actually make it gray to match the bottom, and I'm also going to make it quite a bit smaller, and I'll make this text box smaller. And you could do a couple things. I could put it way down in the bottom. You could also put it right on the picture. Okay, I don't know how you want to have them do it. If I put it on the picture, I probably instead would make the thing a little bit lighter so that it sort of stands out a bit more. But I think just get into the habit of having kids just putting the URL. That definitely makes them start thinking about the fact that, okay, I don't own this picture and I've borrowed it, and so I should let people know that I didn't take it. So now we've got 3 slides in here. It was easy to add them. You clicked the add and you decided which type that you wanted. What I'd like to show next is transitions, because as of right now, when I go from slide to slide, it'll literally just appear from slide to slide. So what I can do is click Slide, Change Transition. And over here it says Slide No Transition on the right hand side. This is where your transition stuff will appear. I'm going to put on here a fade and the speed a little bit more towards medium. And what I'd like is I actually want every slide to fade in when I click through, so I'm going to click Apply to All Slides. Now what this means is just each slide will fade in. All the stuff that's already on them will fade in as well. So maybe when you get to here, they want the apples to fade in after the page comes in. So you can click on the apples, add animation, fade in on click. Okay, and so that's good. This is what it will look like if you want to see. Fade from one to the other, and when you click on it, it will fade in. I'm going to do that on both of these pictures. I'm actually going to select the text and the picture. Take a look at this. I'm clicking the picture, and now I'm going to hold my shift button and click down on the text, and I'm going to fade in on click. So now both of those will fade in at the same time. And I'll show you that in a minute when we actually look at presentation. So students are working on having a presentation heavy in images so that people will focus on their speaking so that they can know what it is that they're trying to say. Where do they put their information then? Down here on the bottom, the presentations notes, or speaker notes as it's known in Microsoft, they will click and put their stuff in there. So students can put in their notes on here, and when they're doing a presentation, what can happen is, just like in PowerPoint, they're hooked up to the projector. The projector will be just projecting the slide, and on their computer screen will be a small picture of their slide with their notes, so that if they forget what they were going to say, they can quickly look at their notes and then go back to talking. Again, you want to stress that they need to be rehearsed. So they need to know this information. They shouldn't be reading it off of their computer. They should know their information, and this picture should have helped them to remember, oh, I'm going to talk about healthy apple benefits. So you've noticed that I have not saved. This is just like Google Docs. As I'm doing work, pretty much about 2 to 3 seconds after I've done any change, it will automatically save. So I don't stress so much about the saving. As long as we're connected to the internet and it's fairly robust, this is going to save and it's going to be okay, and I'm not going to have to stress about it. That's one of the great things. One of the downfalls, as we've talked about before, is that it means that you need an internet connection to use it. It also means you need an internet connection to play the presentation. So before I show you playing the presentation, there's lots more we can do with this. It's very, 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 very similar to PowerPoint. You can do lots. One of the things that is easier, I believe, in this than it is in PowerPoint is, I'm going to get a new page here. I'll go the title and 2 columns. If I leave this here, that just on a side, the click to add text, and I put a picture over it, that actually won't show up. It's just like PowerPoint. It's there just to let you know that you can put text there. If you want to get rid of it because you think that, oh, maybe it will appear, you can just click on it and press delete, and it will show it. So maybe your students have a movie or a video that they found off of YouTube that is great for their presentation. It's very easy to insert that. Insert video, and you can search for, if you already know the URL, you can just paste it in there and I'll put it, but you can search right from here for movies, and they can then go and stick up and on there their video, and it will automatically embed. I can drag this, put it in the middle, okay, and now I have my YouTube video embedded into the movie. So to view the presentation, top right corner, start presentation, and what you'd want to suggest is that they make it full screen, and what will happen is their computer's connected to the projector, so they should see the notes view on their computer, and this is the presentation view for everybody to watch. And as you see, when I click through, it will fade from one to the next. Remember, we have the picture fading in. Moving through to the next one, same thing should happen. Picture fading in. Notice how the text faded with it. I had to select both at the same time, if you remember. And at the very end here, we have the YouTube video. If I click play, up will start the Picking Apples song. And so you can see that that was the presentation view. I'm going to close this box. Remember, all the changes have been saved. The one thing that I did not do yet, though, is right up here in the top corner, is give it a name. So their presentation is finished. The last thing I'd probably ask them to do, or maybe it's the first thing you'd ask them to do, is to share it with you. So click on the sharing button, and we've seen this before. They can just simply add in your name there and save it, and now you've got access to it, and you're done. That's presentations in a nutshell.